Hello everyone, welcome back to my show and welcome back to my study. After the first week of Panda's Books and Records shop being open and 2 videos that I made in the shop, I'm back in my study. It's Sunday tea time. It's just getting dark. It's almost 5 o'clock and we've closed the doors on 4 days, first 4 days in our shop. And we've had a really lovely time, a really sociable time. The shop is really airy and colourful and filled with people. And some of them are friends, some of the people we know from Levy, familiar faces who then you get introduced to, and completely new people as well who come and chat. When you work in a shop, and when you work in particularly when it's a bookshop, there are conversations to be had, and people love talking about all this stuff, and they love the fact that the bookshop is still open. It's still there. There was a chance that it would disappear with Ian and Susie closing it. There was a chance that it was going to go and Levy would lose its wonderful bookshop it's had for 6 years, but we've rescued it and made it into something else that will develop and become its own thing, and you can see it happening day by day. So it's been really good fun. We've found our place in the world, really, another place in the world to be amongst all of this stuff, playing favourite records and chatting away. Jeremy today reorganising all the art and photography and cinema shelves and creating a whole system for how that all works. Me sitting at the desk mostly and talking to people and selling stuff and greeting a lot of people and changing the labels on other departments, so that, as promised, science fiction, fantasy and horror is now monsters and planets. When I tell people, they laugh and like it and think it's right. It's what science fiction, fantasy and horror should always be called, monsters and planets. And it was lovely greeting various people, writers and artists locally. Some coming in with their work, like Siobhan Daniel, who brought her flamingo paintings in gold frames to go up on the wall. Mark Griffiths, who's talking about his next book, and Mike Heath bringing me a copy of his new novel, which we're going to stock, a thriller. So that's all it's been great. It's been 4 days of quite hard work. It's quite tiring talking the whole time, but it's stuff I'm used to, I guess. That's what I do when I go out and do events. It's a bit like that, but you're the bookshop as well as the person doing the talking. So it's been good fun and really funny playing your records that you love, these CDs, these compilations I've made over the years. It's an excuse to get the sound up and subject everybody to your musical taste. And I love, on my mix CDs, kind of radical juxtapositions from genre to genre, and it's funny watching people realise that's what it is. You go from disco to Paganini or whatever. What else do I have to tell you? I've been so pleased with the reactions that people have had to the bookshop, to Panda's bookshop online with these videos and on Instagram, Blue Sky and all of that stuff. People are really enthusiastic about this whole thing. The comments that I've had on this channel below my films has been fantastic. Really lovely comments, and I'm so thankful that people are there and up for following this journey, as they call it these days. This is our journey. It does feel like a life-changing moment that I get to 56 and develop a new career. It's funny, I do feel rather negatively towards publishing and the book world from the publishing side. As a writer, I feel very let down by publishing and the way it operates and the way that authors are treated by publishers. And I've had 30 years experience, and I know people in that world tell me I'm wrong, but I know my experience, I know how my career has felt from this side. And I do feel quite let down by publishing. And it's not great. It's not a good feeling to have put in the work I have, to have published more than, well, probably a book for every year of my life. I've probably published 56 books. And for, yeah, to not feel, to be made to feel that none of it's been worth it, which is how they make you feel in that world, which isn't good. So it feels apt for a bit of a change around, from my point of view, to go to a place where people are enthusiastic about books, want to talk about books and live books. And that's happening in bookshops like ours, indie or small and used and new bookshops and secondhand shops, all those places. So it's good to go where the enthusiasm is. I've been reading as well through the week. I've even found time to read in the shop, which is amazing, and I'm so glad. I'm really relieved. My theory is that when you have a bookshop, there's lots to do, but as a browser, as somebody going into a bookshop, I really want leaving alone to browse. I don't want somebody leaping out at me and saying, "Can I help you?" or "What are you here to do?" And you have to say, "I'm here to browse, thanks, leave me alone." I like to smile and say hello, and I return to my book, and they will come and talk to me when and if they need help or they want to buy something. That's how I feel about it, really. I think from that, the places I've been where that happens, it's usually secondhand shops. The big, of course, in the big kind of corporate chain bookshops, people are kept really busy. There's no chance that those people are going to be allowed to read. I can in mine, and it feels like a real luxury to sit at the desk and put my feet up and read The Magician's Nephew. I went back to the beginning of Narnia this week, and I can't tell you how welcoming that's been. It's been a few years, probably 20. I think maybe I've reread one of them in the last 20 years. But the last time I read more than one was at least 20 years ago. So I've gone back right to the beginning. And The Magician's Nephew took me a few days to read really slowly and deliciously. It's such a good book. I knew it was. I knew that atmosphere that was still in my head was going to be just as vivid and brilliant as ever. And that feeling of travelling in through the wood between the worlds, from one world to another, and travelling in time back into the Edwardian era and London, would feel just as real as it always did. And it did. And the magical stuff is really magical. The silver apples and Aslan giving orders and creating the world of the beasts and making the beasts talk. And the beginning of Narnia. All of that stuff is really magically conjured. I never held with those quite savage readings of C.S. Lewis that said he was a terrible God-botherer. I think it's a very shallow reading of what he does and the way he works with allegory. I think, I didn't feel buttonholed by him as a kid when reading these. I didn't feel as if I was being force-fed Christianity in the way that I think Charlie Mackesy does in the mole, the mouse, the donkey and the rabbit and the boy and the cow, that book, where I do feel there's an overtly goddish kind of subtext going on, and I feel bothered by that. For some reason, Narnia never bothered me. And so when Philip Pullman went on about that, he wanged on about that in the late 90s a lot while beginning his Northern Lights trilogy. I really liked Philip Pullman's books when I began reading them, and liked that trilogy less as it went on. I certainly liked him less when he was quite rude to me in public when Strange Boy came out, and wasn't very friendly at the Oxford Literary Festival in 2002. I do remember that. which was a shame. And that can really put you off somebody's work. Come on, Socks! Can you hear him shouting? Anyway, I never believed in what Pullman said. I thought he had his own agenda in putting Lewis down. And his essay about it was quite crude in some ways. And it's never spoiled these books for me. And so I went from this, and today I picked up again The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And do I need to read it? I could just recite it in my head, I think, in some ways. But there's always more to be found. Moments of texture, of detail that will have slipped your mind over the years. I don't know how many times I've read this, but it's such a comforting world to return to. And there's very fraught scenes with the witch meeting Edmund and the Turkish Delight. Read like a dream still. And Edmund's betrayal of Lucy and all that stuff. Come on. Come on, Socks. People want to see you. People want to see him because he wasn't in my last videos because we're in the shop. Come on. So there's been that, but also I made a find in the shop. Obviously, I'm finding all sorts of books that I want to keep for myself. Oh, come on. Which isn't the best idea, but there's lots of things in that shop that are just marvellous. It's a really, really good stock of things to build on. But hidden away, what? Socks, I haven't got any dreamies here. There's none up there. Oh. Hidden away in a pile of new acquisitions. There he is, look, can you see him? There was this tiny slim book called Poor Minette from the 50s by P.J. Stahl, which is I think it's a pseudonym. Now it's a cat book. Socky, come on. Look in the camera. Yes. And it's letters between two cats in Paris in the 19th century. Minette and Bebe. Minette is the sister who went off and became rich. She ran off with a man, or with a male cat, and is living the high life and fallen out of touch with her poor sister Bebe, who lives in the Marais and lives off catching mice still. And Minette has, she's been chucked out by her husband, and now she's got nothing. Well, she wishes she had nothing because then she thinks she would at least be happy like Bebe is in her poverty. And what you get is a series of letters. It's not a very long book at all, 40 pages. A series of letters between these two cats, one of them very snooty. And they're kind of bitching at each other. It's quite a fraught tale. I keep using that word fraught. In that Minette is almost drowned in the river by her mistress, sewn into a bag and chucked in the river. Oh, come on. She just wants her sister to take her back in. That's what she's doing. It's about emotional manipulation. There's a picture of Minette being, look at that, your older sister. And she's being persuaded by the devil who appears on her shoulder. Oh, there, look. Socks, don't do that. They're lovely engravings. Anyway, it's a fantastic book. I read the whole thing in the shop yesterday. Poor Jeremy. He's sorting out shelves and I'm sat there reading a book of letters between two cats. This is Minette to Bebe in the first letter. Here's an excerpt. My chief purpose in writing to you, however, is to let you know that I am still alive, that I live, that I love you, and that I would like to be a sister to you again, if that should be possible. I have been haunted tonight by memories of our old mother, who was so good to us and took such pains to dress us nicely. It was the most absorbing of her daily tasks, and how comfortably and how remarkably patient she was, always ironing out our silk dresses to make us look smart. Because, as she used to say, you must appear attractive to everybody. With what tender emotion do I recall that simple family life, those happy days, those jolly games, and that artless companionship. I miss it all so much, Bebe. Even our quarrels and your scratches. and I felt that I ought to let my loved ones know why I had left them and the reasons why I could not return. At the risk of being caught in the act, I sat down quietly this very night at my fashionable mistress's ebony writing table inlaid with gold and ivory to write this letter to you on her fine perfumed notepaper by the dim light of a little alabaster lamp which shines softly on the elegant furniture of her bedchamber. So you see, Bebe, I am rich, but I would much rather be happy. Goodbye, Bebe, till tomorrow. I must be quick. My mistress is waking up. I have just time to screw my letter into a ball and roll it under the wardrobe. I shall leave it there until daybreak, when I can give it to one of our own folk, who at this very moment is prowling outside on the garden terrace, awaiting my orders. He will bring back your reply. Please do write to me soon. Oh, do let me know at once what has become of our mother. Your loving sister, Minette. I could go on just reading it. It's very arch and very funny. Anyway, I should go. This has been 16 minutes of blether. 16 minutes back in the study with Socky Woo and his shouting. I hope everyone's well. I hope you've had a good weekend and a good week. I feel like I've taken my attention away a bit from the usual stuff by concentrating on the shop and all this carry on. I will find the right blend of activities soon, hopefully, but you will hear all about it, no doubt, in this show. Say goodbye, Socky. Oh, can you hear him purring? He obviously likes books about cats writing letters. We do have a cat section in the bookshop now, at last. Okay, goodbye everyone. I will see you again quite soon. Goodbye.